morning, children. Welcome back to your English classes with the third session of the last lesson of your Reader Flamingo. Now, before we proceed further to study our third session, let's have a brief recap of what we had learned in the previous two sessions. So, when the lesson opens, we are introduced with the main character of the story, that is Franz. He is a sort of a boy who does not like reading and writing participles. Instead of that, he enjoys the company of being in the company of birds and enjoying seeing the Prussian soldiers drilling behind the at the back of the sawmill. So he is trying to hurry himself towards the school, and on his way he sees the people gathered over there near the town hall in order to read some news that is being displayed on the bulletin board. There, blacksmith called Watcher, he interrupts in between while the writer, he is hurrying himself to go to school, and he says that when he is going to reach school, he will be having enough of time over there, so he need not hurry in order to go to school. So he goes to school, and a normal scenario at the school that was being seen, that is the pupils moving here and there reciting the lessons, and the master moving to and fro. All those things, they were not being seen at the school. Instead of that, whole of the atmosphere over there, it was quite quiet, and he happens to enter the class. When he enters the class, he is having a fear that he will be beaten or scolded by M. Hamel, the master of the class. But nothing as such happens. He is allowed to enter the class, and Franz is quite surprised to see that M. Hamel, he is wearing the new clothes that he used to always wear at the time of either inspection or the prize distribution was supposed to take place. Along with that, he also notices that in the class, the villagers they have accumulated themselves at the back of the classroom. They have gathered over there, and most of them, they are seated over there at the last benches. So here, Franz is not able to understand what the situation exactly is, and all of a sudden it is being disclosed by M. Hamel. Okay, today it is their last French lesson that is supposed to be taught to them, because the orders have come from Berlin to teach only German in the schools of Alsace and Lorraine, and it is probably their last French lesson. So all of a sudden, Franz, he understands what the scenario must have been at the bulletin board, and why M. Hamel, he is dressed so nicely. So all of a sudden, Franz starts feeling pity about M. Hamel, whom he has been hating like anything. He was hating even learning the French lessons also. But somehow or the other, now he has developed a sort of sympathetic attitude towards both M. Hamel also, and towards his learning the grammar and participles of the French language. Then M. Hamel goes on telling the importance of the French language, and he also holds the parents and himself responsible for not letting the children know their native language properly. And then he goes on telling that French language is the best language in the world. It is the most clearest and the most logical language. And here the core statement, it is being uttered by M. Hamel, that when people are enslaved, as long as they are near to their native language, at least they have the key to the prison open for them. And then he goes on opening the grammar book, and he instructs Franz. He starts reading the grammar lessons from it, and all of the children, all of the pupils, they are attentively listening to whatever lessons are being taught by him. Now till here we had covered up in the previous two sessions. Now we shall begin learning our lesson further in this third session. After the grammar, we had a lesson in writing. That day M. Hamel had new copies for us written in a beautiful round hand. Friends Alsace. They looked like little flags floating everywhere in the schoolroom. Hung from the rod at the top of our desk. You ought to have seen how everyone set to work and how quiet it was. So when M. Hamel he starts giving the grammar lessons to the class, to the children accumulated in the class, there he hands over the new copies to the children that was having the beautiful impression of the words France Alsace written on it. And as you can see in the image, these copies they appeared to be like this. So all of the pupils over there in the class, they were attentively doing their work very quietly. No noise was being heard over there. The only sound was the scratching of the pens over the paper. Once some beetles flew in, but nobody paid any attention to them, not even the littlest ones, who worked right on tracing their fish hooks as if that was French too. On the roof the pigeons cooed very low, and I thought to myself, will they make them sing in German, even the pigeons? So all of them, they were working attentively over them. There was a pin drop of silence in the class. And all of a sudden when friends he looks outside the window of the classroom, he sees the pigeons over there, and he is wondering if these German people, they are going to make these pigeons also coo in the German language, because they were forcibly implementing the German language supposed to be taught in the school, whereas their native language it was French. Whenever I looked up from my writing, I saw M. Hamel sitting motionless in his chair and gazing first at one thing then at another, as if he wanted to fix in his mind just how everything looked in that little schoolroom. So when friends he starts looking up in order to assess the scenario of the classroom, he pays attention to M. Hamel, who was sitting motionless in the chair, and he was looking at each and every corner of the class, as if he wanted to keep all those things very fresh in his memory. He wanted to memorize all those things and mesmerize all those things in future, because he was very unhappy of going away from this school and from this town. Fancy, for 40 years he had been there in the same place, with his garden outside the window and his class in front of him. So for a person who has been working over there for 40 years, it was very difficult for him to leave that place, because he was living over that place since 40 years with the same classroom over there and the garden outside the window and his class that was in the front of that garden. It was intact and it was as it is for the last 40 years. Only the desks and benches had been worn smooth. The walnut trees in the garden were taller, and the hopevine that had planted himself twined about the windows to the roof. So since 40 years, all those things they were the same. It was the same garden, it was the same classroom, and the same view of the garden from the class. The only things that were adapted to change, or that were being changed, were the desks and the benches in the classroom, the walnut tree that was grown in the garden by M. Hamel, because it had grown very taller now, and the hope vine that was planted by him, it has twinned itself with the windows, and it had extended itself towards the roof. How it must have broken his heart to leave it all, poor man, to hear his sister moving about in the room above, packing their trunks, for they must leave the country next day. It was a heartbreaking situation for M. Hamill, because he was not mentally prepared to leave that town. But because he had to go forcibly from there, he was feeling very sad about it. And friends could hear his sister, M. Hamill's sister, moving above in the room, busy with the packing of their trunks, because they were about to leave that place. But he had the courage to hear every lesson to the very last. After the writing, we had a lesson in history, and then the babies chanted their Ba Bi Bi Bo Boo. Down there at the back of the room, old Hauser had put on his spectacles and, holding his primer in both hands, spelled the letters with them. We could see that he too was crying. His voice trembled with emotion, and it was so funny to hear him that we all wanted to laugh and cry. Ah, how well I remember it, that last lesson. So in spite of the situation sad over there, M. Hamill, he was doing his job of being a tutor, being a mentor to them. And after the writing session was over, the history session was continued by the master, and the babies could be heard chanting the syllables of the French language. And even Hauser, who had come over there in order to attend the last lesson, he was holding the primer that he has brought along with him, and wearing the spectacles, he was spelling the letters from that French primer. He also was crying, and he also was sad, and that could be seen when his voice, it was trembling with emotions when he was trying to speak those words from his primer. It was appearing to be very funny, because the situation was of sadness, and they were trying to control that particular situation somehow with the laughter and the cry in the class, because it happened to be their last French lesson by their teacher M. Hamill. All at once the church clock struck 12, then the Angelus. At the same moment, the trumpets of the Prussians returning from drill sounded under our window. M. Hamill stood up very pale in his chair. I never saw him look so tall. So all of a sudden, at the clock tower, the clock happened to struck 12. That means the classes, they were supposed to get over. Meantime, the Prussian soldiers, the trumpets of the Prussian soldiers, it was also being heard, because they were returning from their routine drilling job. That could be heard from the window. So M. Hamill, who is very sad and very pale, all of a sudden he stands up from his chair. My friends, said he. Aye, but something choked him. He could not go on. Then he turned to the blackboard, took a piece of chalk, and bearing on with all his might, he wrote as large as he could, Vive la France. Then he stopped and leaned his head against the wall, and without a word he made a gesture to us with his hand. School is dismissed, you may go. So when the session gets over, M. Hamill, he is not having enough courage even to stand up also. He tries to stand up, he tries to speak also, he tries to address the class also, but his voice gets choked. So he turns himself towards the blackboard, he picks up the piece of a chalk, and with very bold handwriting on the blackboard he writes Vive la France, which means long live France. Then he leans to his head against the wall, and because he is not able to speak anything, because his voice gets choked, he makes a gesture with his hands to the class that the school is dismissed and they may go. Now here our lesson it gets over. Hope that you have understood this. So meet you in the next session. Till then, goodbye and take care.